good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition and another week of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. As you could see, we are on the road. As usual, we're in beautiful Boca Raton with one of our favorites, Eddie Pozzoli, Pozzoli Hospitality. Got Mike Lubie Lubitz on the mixing board. We've got Jeff Defo DeForest off in Lauderdale by the Sea. Eddie, welcome back. Defo, how are you? How was your weekend?
Oh, couldn't have been better. Sports overload. It was absolutely fantastic. And we got the Derby coming up. And then I get to watch you guys suck down this beautiful food at Prezzo's, which I really was in the mood for one of their pizzas today. That would have been great. Or one of the fantastic eggplant dishes. And then the other thing I wanted to say, I mean, Eddie, congratulations, Eddie and Vinny's rave reviews all over the place. People really seem to love it. So another successful place opened up by Eddie Pozzoli. A fantastic job.
Yes, it's a rare weekend now where we don't get a gushing review flowing into the Let's Eat South Florida, which is always a good thing. So kudos to you. How are you, my friend?
Doing well. You know, it's been like whitewater rafting the past 2 months. That's the best way to.
And it's not over yet.
No, it's not. It's just getting started.
Yeah, we got a lot to do on the rundown of all just your budding food empire. And but first, how was your Easter and spring holiday season? Everything good?
Everything's been going great. You know, we even in Boca, it seems that season stayed a little bit later than last year, which is always great to see. I mean, the weather's been beautiful out here, so that has significantly helped all the restaurants kind of carry through the April woes. That, you know, Easter being in March last year really like put a ding in
everybody seemed to pack up and go home early, and now again with the both holidays, Passover and Easter, we're a little bit later, and that extends the season, which is good for you guys. But now it's like almost summertime, and we'll talk about some of the things that you're going to be doing at all your different properties. But before we get into that, you know, we do have playoff fever, or maybe a mild case of some illness and food poisoning with the heat and the Panthers.
I wish I watched any sports at this point. I'm going to F1 this weekend. That's
I forgot. F1 is coming up, Defo. Are you excited about all the highfalutin millionaires and gazillionaires coming into Miami to?
So one sport I really don't get.
Yeah,
the same guy wins every race. Max Verstappen. And then it's almost like watching the old days of the harness races where they went around and nobody changed positions. Nothing happens during the course of the race.
Yeah, but unlike
a lot of good-looking people with a lot of money to waste. It's great. No, are you racing, Eddie? I didn't mean to,
No, I want to hear why do you like F1?
You know, it's one of those things. I think being in the hospitality business kind of forced it on me. My off times are often the times when the races are on, because a lot of times they're overseas. So, you know, I get home at night and all of a sudden there's a race starting.
Right.
And so you just watch things by default, and then, you know, you start to like watch it a little bit more. Then you watch the Netflix series, you kind of get an idea of the drivers and the history behind it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I kind of like this. It's, you know, it's different. It's fun.
I covered a little bit of NASCAR in my days when I was a sports writer in South Carolina, but F1, like, if, you know, NASCAR is Budweiser and country music, F1 is not F1. You know, Roederer and Cristal Champagne,
like they race in Monaco
and caviar, and that's where I got first exposed to it. I was traveling through Europe after, you know, I was studying abroad junior year in 1986, and I happened to go through Monaco, where a friend of mine was up in the hills of France. But it was race weekend, F1, and just the whole glitz and glamour. And that course is amazing. Now, crazy. The Pro Player Stadium, whatever you call it, what's the name of the stadium?
Hard Rock.
You know, to put on some pylons around the football stadium there. I don't know if it's exciting, but
Eddie's going. We'll have to talk
I've
to him
gone
next
the past
month.
3 years. It's a pretty crazy track. You know, it's a lot of times it's hard to see, and it's almost better to watch at home, to be honest with you, because you can't see the entire race from where you're sitting at any point. So, like, you got to buy tickets, hopefully, where you feel there's going to be, like, the most action. So it could be, like, in the first turn.
Now, do they have big screens that show the whole thing going on? Okay.
But, like, you know, you might as well stay home at that point. So, like, it's hard to justify the cost of tickets to go there, but it's about, you know, you're in the scene of craziness, and there's all sorts of like different activations and parties going on within the
Yes,
campus.
it is very much a
It's-
party scene.
Yeah.
And Defa, I think it would be a more interesting race if they allowed Rick Sanchez to compete, because I know he's had some adventures in the parking lot of the station.
Wasn't it Sanchez that's got the thing down here in Miami? I used to cover a little Formula One, believe it or not, when I was out at the Ontario Daily Report. Yesterday's news tomorrow was the motto of the newspaper, and they had a racetrack out in Ontario, California. It's since moved to Fontana, which was even further to the east of Los Angeles metropolitan basin there. And I remember a big story was the ground effects car. Johnny Rutherford was a driver, and I believe the guy's name was John Hall that came up with this thing, and it was revolutionary in Formula One racing. And I remember doing a couple of stories on that, but then it was about a 40-year gap before I had any interest in this thing again.
Well, I know that you're talking about the hospitality industry, like in Miami, all those restaurants are packed.
I know it's a big
Yeah,
deal.
they put the beach. Are they still charging like $2,000 a head for that?
Sold out.
Isn't Carbone a big caterer for the party?
Yeah,
and it's
we
like
just had Carbone on the beach.
They like Gatorade. It's like a whole thing.
Still a thing.
Yeah, I mean, last year just at Carbone Beach, I want to say there was Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, like every
Heavy hitters.
star. Oh,
yeah,
it's crazy.
LeBron used to go there, and when his team was out of the playoffs. But I guess are they still alive? The Lakers in it? I have no idea what's going on.
They're down 3-1.
They're down 3-1. And speaking of down 3-0, well, Defo, okay, we're gonna play kind of one-word description time. Give me one word for each of these going into tonight's games. One word to describe your feelings about tonight's Panthers Lightning Game 4. And then one word to describe also the Heat Cavaliers Game 4.
Can you give me two? Because then I can do it.
Sure. I mean,
Game 4, Tampa Bay, Florida Panthers, bloodbath.
Mm-hmm.
Game 4, Heat Cavaliers. I mean, I need 3 words. South Beach Syndrome.
All right.
Only factor that could change the outcome of this game is that Cleveland, realizing they're up 3-0, just blowing out the Heat. They know they're going to win a series. They're going back to Cleveland, which is not exactly a desirable destination. They probably partied all night last night, and I think everybody shows up tonight looking like Allen Iverson after an all-night bender in Miami. And South Beach Syndrome will be the factor. I know that was taking a lot of liberties with your one-word thing, but I believe that describes what's going to happen tonight.
Now, you said you haven't been watching, but obviously, is it good for business in Coral Springs? I mean, you have a TV in Vinny's, or does anybody pay attention to the
not really.
Panthers? Yeah.
Not at the restaurant. I think we actually, a couple weeks ago, there was a concert there that we had people come to dinner for prior to heading down there. Maybe we'll get some early diners. I don't even know what time the game is. What's 7 o'clock?
7:30. I think they both start at the same time for the second time, and
maybe we get a couple people early, but I sincerely doubt it. It kind of throws a wrench right into dinner service. So we're not going to get anybody before or really after over there.
Yeah. Look, all I know as a fan, the one word I'd use for the Panthers, Lightning, fun. Looks like a good, even series. The Lightning gets on the board. This is what playoff hockey is all about. Two good teams loaded with talent, both playing well, both have pretty good goaltenders, and one is fun. For the Heat, funeral.
Yeah, done.
It's gonna be, I don't know. Maybe the South Beach Syndrome comes into effect. I think the problem is the game on Saturday was too early, so the game was over by 3 o'clock. That gives them plenty of time to go out, hit the beach, be out all night, even till 6 a.m. They have all day Sunday to be in bed, hungover.
Clubs just start getting busy at 6 a.m. So
yeah,
they could have went until 10 or 11.
Yeah, but then they still have all day today.
Yeah, they got to work and rest Sunday. Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Meanwhile, that is, we'll be watching and waiting, and maybe the Heat does, avoid the sweep. Meanwhile, the dogs are barking. And
you know what happened? We're having some cleaning people come over. It's supposed to be here at 2:30, and the woman's banging on the back door right now.
The dogs at Boca are yapping.
I'm numb to it at this point.
Sounds like the sixth race of this game here. What's going on?
It's all
but there's a woman at the back door, and that's caused a little panic among the animals.
All right. Well, Skippy hopefully will be okay. All right, so Eddie, let's talk a little business here. Now, Eddie Vinny's doing well, and that's been open now. I've lost all track of time. It's only about a month and a half.
We opened March 17th.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So, about 6 weeks now. And projections going well. I mean, in terms of people coming in, checking the place out.
It's been everything we had hoped it could be, at least for the first 6 weeks. Reviews have been fantastic. Food has been going out great. Our team has been lights out. They're really happy to be there. We're happy to have them. It's just been a great overall opening from the team side, from the guests' perception, guests, welcoming us back into West Broward. Just across the board, it's been a great.
It looked great. We did our last show with you there. I guess it's been about a month ago, and everything was looking really spiffy. The food was delicious. I love that chicken parm, the airline chicken parm.
Yep.
And of course, the short rib, the fresh pasta, the pappardelle. It's all good, and that's Eddie and Vinny's. That's on Sample Road. The address again is
10181.
Almost memorized it. Yeah, West Sample Road out in Coral Springs. Go check it out. Then on the drawing board, still in the building phase, is Dear Olivia. Your business partner is owed to his daughter, and that's going to be up in the Parkland corridor, right? Mm-hmm. And how are things proceeding with that?
Good. We made a couple changes maybe about 3 weeks ago, which added a couple more weeks to our construction phase.
Okay.
Had to redesign some of the booths and
was that because of city permit issues or just making sense on a
it was
business?
Us standing in the middle of the dining room saying we need to do this instead of this.
Okay.
Oh wow.
After we already decided to do one thing. So it's for in the long run, it was a great idea. Had we thought about it, probably 5 weeks prior to us making that decision, I wish we did. Saved us a little time and money, but at the end of the day, what the finished product is what it's all about, and the finished product is going to be
better to sacrifice a couple of weeks now, especially during the off season, and get things right so that it's everything instead of having to tweak things after the fact.
Oh, it's not going to be something. It wouldn't even be something we could without having to close, something we couldn't change once we open. So
so do it now.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. We just got it all out of the way.
And before we get to where we are now, Prezzo with 2 locations, Palm Beach Gardens and here in Boca. Let's go a little bit east in Boca. Corvina, I see Crazy Eddie is at it again. I saw something come up in my social that not only are you continuing the social hour, the 50% off the entire menu all over the restaurant from 4 to 5 p.m., but that you're doing a little something extra for the summertime. Do you want to give us the details?
Yeah, so we retooled our very popular social hour. What we experienced last summer was nothing short of amazing. I mean, as far as the amount of people that came through the door.
Right, off-season miracle. You want people in the door.
So when it came to planning for this off-season, because we all know the off-season eventually it shows up. Like, it's not that it's not there. So the idea was, how do we do this still provide a great value and whatnot, but not kill the kitchen every single day for an hour? Because the kitchen every day at 4 o'clock would just get beat up because
150 covers right off the bat.
It's only that discount for that 1 hour. So and then after that, it's the off season, so nobody shows up, or minimal people show up later. So we said, you know what, let's take this back a little bit. Let's still do the half off for that first hour from 4 to 5. However, from 5 to close, Sunday to Thursday, we're going to do 25% off the entire menu.
Oh, wow.
And that way, those who want to eat at a more reasonable time will be like, oh, you know what? We'll come a little bit later. We're not going to have to show
at 7:30 or 8 and still get a good deal. 25% off of everything, including bar.
Everything, including bar. However, we did remove the raw bar and sushi out of those 2 options.
And what about like champagne or wine?
That's
all 25% still. Okay. So he still is Crazy Eddie. His prices are insane.
Yeah, the goal is just to kind of spread the value more than just an hour a day,
right?
Because the kitchen it's just so much stress on them for that hour and a half,
right?
And then it just
and then it dissipates.
That light switch turns off.
But I got to ask you, I mean, this is a really brutal business, and the margins are usually low. How do you get away with doing 50% and then 25% for basically the entire summer? I know Fridays and Saturdays it's not on, or is social hour still on Friday, Saturday for just the first hour? Or are you
we still do from 4 to 5 Fridays and Saturdays. But the idea behind it is really just volume.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's taking money to the bank in the summertime. So our goal in the summertime is
Sustain.
Just keep going.
keep everybody employed, keep the fish ultra fresh. We still get 7-day-a-week deliveries, and try to generate as much goodwill and talk and whatnot throughout the neighborhood, so people just keep coming in.
Keep it doing.
And then in the season time, then taper it back a little bit, and that's really the only time to make real money in this area.
When does the new social hour, the 25% off for the rest of the evening, go into effect?
Today.
Oh, it starts now.
Perfect.
Okay.
Impeccable timing as usual here on the
Yeah.
Lunchbox. All right, and now we're at Prezzo, which again, this is a place that I hate Italian comfort food. You come in here, you get your lunch specials. They call them, is it the Lunchbox
Mhm.
specials? And just give us a rundown of that. I think we got one of those. Is that the panini or?
No, this is
These
the
are all
pasta al
different
forno.
specials.
This is like we do a different pasta every day, different specialty pasta every day. So
Okay.
we have the lunchbox, which is I think 5 or 6 different items. They're $14 a piece, including a beverage. So it's just it's something that comes out quick. You can come on your work break and get food quick and then head out. And we've got some sandwiches, pizzas, and what I kind of call the Prezzos is I just say it's a fastball down the center. You're going to come here, you're going to be comfortable, casual, have a great meal, consistent, and kind of get a little bit of everything.
And I love the 14 because basically for a $20 bill you get your meal,
Yeah, 'cause your tip
tax
is
and
included.
tip, and it's boom $20. Which
Yep.
these days a $20 good reasonable solid lunch, and something like
Doesn't
this,
exist,
I can't even
For like a good
I
lunch.
can't even eat the whole thing of this anymore. And
No.
I would just have half of it, bring the other home for a snack later, or have it for dinner. But good value here. Palm Beach Gardens also running good.
Yeah, same thing up there. We are retooling our menus for the summer. We're going to be shifting from having a separate lunch and dinner menu. We're going to shift to an all-day menu. So
Okay.
we've gotten a lot of requests over the past year or so to do sandwiches for dinner and have a burger on there for dinner. And it's never been something that we did, but listen to your guests. And if
You
there's
give the
enough
people what
requests,
they want. Yeah.
we said, what, it'll actually make the kitchen's job a little bit easier, because at 3:00 they're not having to switch to a dinner service where you're packing up your lunch stuff and bringing out your dinner stuff. So it'll just be a continual menu all day, and still focusing on providing a great value and being that place that you can go any day of the week, whether it's after your kid's baseball practice or you want to go grab a quick date night and something like that.
Nice. So again, something for everybody out there in the P hospitality world now, between Eddie and Vinny's, Corvina, great fresh seafood, raw bar, and all kinds of other items. That's on the east side of Boca on Plaza Real. I guess it's 110 South.
Plaza Real South.
Yep.
You're
And
good with your addresses.
Oh man, I got a memory today. I took it easy on my brain cells this weekend. And then of course we got 2 Prezzos, and coming soon the Dear Olivia up in Parkland. What's the aim now? Sometime before Father's Day, hopefully, or no,
we're
July 4th.
July 21st is the
target date.
Is the targeted opening date.
Okay. We can't wait to check that out. But meanwhile, for your eating and dining pleasure, you still got all those great options.
Mhm.
So, all right, let us take our first break, and then when we come back, we've got some topics to discuss. Eddie has a couple things on his chest about influencers, but present company excluded. I'm not an influencer. I don't know what I am. But let us come back with more on the Lunchbox after these words.
Hey Lunchbox fans, is it time to sell your business? You've poured your heart and soul into your restaurant or business, and you want to see continue the legacy you have built. Transworld can help. Call me, Andy Cagnetta, at Transworld Business Advisors right now and see if it's time for you to retire and relax. Iconic brands like the Mai Kai, Mulligan's, Carlos and Pepe's, Mangoes, and many more turn to Transworld to help sell. Contact Transworld on Facebook or call 954-772-1122 or visit tworld.com. Again, that's 954-772-1122 or tworld.com.
When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks. They're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Guess who's back and better than ever? Juan's. For the best in classic old school Chinese cuisine, a family-run South Florida favorite since 1966. It's at 664 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale, open every day but Tuesday for lunch and dinner. Chef Alex is carrying on the family tradition that started 4 generations ago. It used to be known as Christina Juan's Mandarin House, and you're going to love it as Juan's. They've got all your favorites: wonton soup, spare ribs, egg rolls, dumplings, Peking duck, and more. Combo lunch specials daily and takeout and delivery. For more information, go to their Instagram page at wans.fl. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Feel like getting away without leaving town? Then you got to check out the House on the River in Fort Lauderdale. It's a beautiful restored historic home with indoor and outdoor dining right on the new river. You'll think you're in Charleston or Savannah. It has a gorgeous patio, porches, and private dining areas, and it offers unique experiences perfect for a date night or fun times with friends and family. It has weekend brunches, happy hour, dinner Wednesday through Sunday. There's also a high tea on Friday and Saturdays, and the popular House of Veuve Champagne experience on weekends. The House on the River is in Fort Lauderdale's Himmershey district, just south of the Science Museum. For reservations and information. All right, we are back on the Lunchbox. We are at Prezzo Boca Raton. It is on Military Trail. This address I've forgotten. 56 something.
5560 North Military
Close.
Trail.
Oh,
All
good
right.
for you. At least Eddie remembers.
Right now, I'm a solid C student. I've almost memorized all the addresses.
I'll forgive you.
But with Eddie Pizzoli, one more bit of sports business before we go back into the food and restaurant topics. Defo, the Derby draw was this weekend, and I actually did binge watch yesterday the Netflix series that you've been.
Oh, that was great, wasn't it?
The Race to the Crown, Race for the Crown.
Race to the Crown, it's called.
Yeah, on Netflix, it recounted last year's action leading up to the Triple Crown races, and I've gotten through now the Preakness. It follows the trail. Some interesting, colorful characters. It's a lot of people that I do know. Kenny McPeak. I'm good friends with one of his assistant trainers that oversees the stable up in New York and Florida. So it's good to see, Kenny McPeak is a down-to-earth human, and he ended up pulling off that Oaks Derby double last year. I don't know if he could do it again this year, but I'm hoping he does, because his horse rendered judgment that he doesn't even want to run in the Derby, but the ownership that includes the estate of the country singer, what's his name? Toby Keith, guy from Oklahoma who passed in 2024.
Toby Keith died?
Keith, somebody died.
No, Toby Keith died.
All right. I'm terrible with this, but the horse named Rendered Judgment, the owners wanted to run. McPeak said the horse isn't ready, but they're running anyway, and I got $2 on him in the future book at 228 to 1. So if he wins, I get $452.
Nice.
But no, the series is very well done. And they did the draw for the upcoming this Saturday's Kentucky Derby on Saturday evening. Did you have any thoughts? Did you notice the draw? I'm in a garden spot because I love Grande, Mike Rapoli, who's had the last two Derby favorites, and both of them met misfortune. One scratched the morning of the race. That would be Forte. And then last year, Fierceness ran 15th. I've got Grande, who I like, who is 2 for 3, lightly raced colt, and I've got him at 48-1 and 25 on him. So I'll win over a grand if he wins the Derby. I could just not even bet the race on Saturday. It's great. But did you pay attention to the draw? Do you have any thoughts early in the week on Derby week?
Going to gather my opinion and make some deductions tomorrow. Actually, I have a show scheduled with both Kate and Brainard. And the great Larry Colmus will be calling the Derby on NBC and all of the Triple Crown races. I'm imagining they're entrenched on the backstretch right now. And Lubie's been there. Remember, we did masquerade Lubie as if he was Pat Day, and we got him on a backstretch of Churchill Downs before the Derby on Kentucky Oaks Day. And you would think you could pick a few things up. So I'm going to reserve judgment until I see a little bit more. Out of the draw, I don't know that there was anything particularly significant. The people who get the number one post are always crying, hanging their heads in shame. You don't want to be too far to the outside. But I don't know that the race was decided when they conducted the draw. So we shall see. And I think it's pretty wide open. So,
well, usually whoever gets the number one post position, the one hole, is usually
burial.
Much dead.
They're screwed, right?
And I think it's Citizen Bull, one of Baffert's horses. Bob Baffert, back at the Derby this year for the first time in 4 years. His suspension, which was for a drug infraction of the horse that got disqualified a few years ago, is now over, and he's back. I think he's got 2 runners, but one of them is on the rail. And Citizen Bull. Now,
that was the Pete Aiello choice as the Pomerooski, because had a win over Sandman, who is a horse that comes highly recommended by many of my degenerate friends.
Nice. And then he's also got Rodriguez, the Wood Memorial winner, in at morning line of 12-1. And I think that's it. He's got 2 in. And to me, I love doing the name exactas, and I'm sorry to take up all the time with the horses. I love my horses. It's not just sports, it's investment advice. Better than the stock market at this point.
This is like me talking F1.
F1, yeah.
But to frame it properly, Eddie, this is the greatest opportunity in all of wagering to make a significant score and get paid way more than the normal odds would mandate on your risk and reward factor, because whatever you hit in the Derby, with rare exception, it pays exponentially better than it normally would any other type of horse race.
And the great Eddie Kaplan gave me some very sage, wise advice when I first was a rookie down here. But I was a horse player. I loved to go out to Calder and Gulfstream, and Eddie Kaplan always says, bet a little to win a lot. So that's, you swing for the fences, you go for the exotics. My hunch play exacta is, obviously journalism is the favorite going in, and journalism, of course, not the greatest profession these days, but there's a horse named Publisher that Irad Ortiz is running.
Really?
So I say just do a $5 cold
Publisher
hunch exacta box for $10 on journalism and Publisher and see what happens.
Yeah, might as well.
You have to consider, though, what's happening to the industry, Mike Mayo.
Yes.
You just mentioned that journalism is out the window. I mean, look what happened with the 60 Minutes show. The guy had to resign there in disgust and disgrace because of the fact that they didn't want him telling the truth anymore. As they try to complete this giant merger with the Redstones, and it's way out of control and out of bounds with journalism. And publishing probably isn't the most profitable business either. So if you wanted to toss your money away, I'm going to put a line through that exacta. I thought about it because
I'm doing it. If it comes in, I'm going to be happy. It just seems to match, poetic. There's a poetic sense to it. So anyway, back to the restaurant world. I know, Eddie, well, we were talking just...
You guys aren't eating enough, by the way. Lubie's, did you just juice up the Ozempic?
Mayo's and the best behavior.
This dish in front of you that is in the center of the table there looks phenomenal. I mean, if I was there, I'd be licking the plate.
And he's got the panini. That's what kind is that?
It's the Milanese.
Milanese. Yeah, and then I've got just a nice chicken Caesar salad.
The show's lost its edge without you.
You know what happens on Mondays, Defo? It is juicing day, or also known as
Jose Canseco, man. I mean,
Ozempic is when I shoot myself up with the Gila Monster Venom, which suppresses my appetite. I went to the gym. I've hit a plateau, beginning of the month, I was all rip roaring. Hopefully, you're going to drop another 10 this month. Whatever. I'm down at 225 for the last 3 weeks. I can't get below
Eddie,
it.
didn't you like them better before? Honestly,
No,
doing the big
I like
bites
when he takes
and-
the big bites,
He
but
liked big
yeah, yeah. I
bites,
mean,
you know.
the whole thing, the showmanship is gone.
he's tolerable now still.
Doctor's
Tolerable.
orders.
It
So
looks better, but I don't think the show's as much.
He might
fun.
last a
I
little
really don't.
longer.
that's
Exactly,
what I'm
that's the
aiming
hope,
for.
that's the
I'm
hope.
trying to, follow my doctor's orders for once in my life. All right. So, speaking of tolerable or intolerable, you're talking about one of the, I guess, marvels or unintended or things that you don't realize opening a new restaurant is you've been hit at Eddie and Viddy's with a wave of influencers trying to avail their services or
Yeah.
glom-free meals. Or how would you describe what's happened?
All right. So we all know over the past 5 years since really COVID
Yeah.
took off, everybody's trying to figure out their way to make their extra money or whatever online, trying to push this product or that product or whatever it is, and what started off as things going viral because people went there genuinely to consume a drink or food or whatnot has turned into now a fad of people reaching out to businesses demanding free food in return for a post.
Wait, that sounds familiar.
But so just one post.
Yeah, where it's where
You don't
it's
have to unveil the entire plan here, right?
no, where it's just something that is like, Monday I'm getting my free dinner here, Tuesday I'm doing this, Wednesday, and we've seen it. It's obviously we've been messaged at all the other restaurants over the past few years. However, with the opening of a new restaurant, it's been so much more concentrated, I guess you can say.
A bombardment of
with-
every day. What do they just like cold call emails? Just kind of send
DMs,
out like
emails. We want this. We want to do this. You can pay us this, and we'll post
collaborate.
This.
Can you collaborate with
I like
us?
that.
Yes.
And we actually had one person come in. Their Instagram is called the Broward Scene, and without any sort of
But he's one of the good guys. You said.
yes, and this is the other side of it. This is the what it's made for. What social media, like the good parts of social media. Somebody runs this account called the Broward Scene. He came in, ate dinner, the whole 9 yards, had a great time. I had no idea what he was even doing there until after he was done with his dinner, and said, "Oh, hey, by the way, I run this Instagram. I'm gonna make a post. Just everything was great." And I said, "Oh man, that was so nice of you." Like I didn't know the guy, and
Right.
it was
He
just
didn't, he didn't schnorr up front. He
No.
just came in and did had a put together a nice package.
and put this reel out where the engagement on it. I want to say there's like 3,000 shares, 95,000
Wow, really?
views. It took off, and it's the genuine aspect of it. It's that he's not looking for the to take something from that. He's literally providing the area with different experiences, and he's posted it not just about us, but about a lot of the other new restaurants that have recently opened in Broward, and whether it be Pier 66 or Timber or
Right.
Earl's, and he's constantly making these posts and not asking for anything. So at that point, that's when it becomes to us as restaurateurs, like, let me reach out to this guy and and
then you want to
genuinely
work
thank
more
him
with
and
him
be like,
because
you know
he's-
what, like you didn't have to do that, and this could be a great relationship that way. It's not I'm going to do this and it's going to go to my followers and that's the way it has to be. It's like, I'm going to do this and we'll create a relationship, and that's kind of what I think social media or the influencer game should be,
as opposed to like all these vultures descending on you. Like, hey, you want to collaborate? Just give me some free food and $300 for a one-time shot to my 60,000 bots that are I bought paid followers
when you don't even live in the area,
right?
And that's
And
that's
you
the
don't even target the area.
yeah, that's the funny thing is like, oh, they're coming up from South Miami. What for? What?
Right. And in Pearl Springs again, the restaurant business mainly you want make the locals please the locals, word of mouth builds, that kind of thing. Now, what we do here, again, because of my past as a journalist, and like I like going in, and we do go into new restaurants, and we do pro bono, where we'll have a
Where it
show
started, I mean.
at a place, and then if I like the food, and I'll come back on my own and pay my own way and say, oh, would you like to further relationship? And this is kind of how it worked with, the great Burt Rappaport, and met Eddie, and, I see the kind of work you do. I want to, I like to think, Defo, that my name and credibility still means something. And
A
so
little suspect after the last few years. no
Yeah.
doubt.
That's actually it's the good part about Let's Eat South Florida, because we all know there's a lot of bad parts about it.
you don't
But
have to tell me.
It's the good part about that site is that it's it's unsolicited.
And it's interactive.
Yeah,
And it's not like Yelp where they're going to bury good reviews if you don't pay them.
exactly. And as long as you do what you're supposed to do on the restaurant side, the website will generally work in your best interest. And, I've seen it go the opposite way, and it's not every review we've gotten has been great.
You're a good operator because you have used
But you
and
don't lose it,
leveraged
though.
that site. And again, we're approaching 200,000 followers, and they're all real people, and we throw out a lot of real people, and we throw out a lot of bots. I mean, it could have been 300,000, but we heavily curate that site. Me and the other editors that we started, from the Sun Sentinel, when I was at the Sun Sentinel when we started. But yeah, and there's a genuineness where you can go back and forth with other people, and if somebody like unfairly trashes a place, and it's a good place, then you'll have 100 people jump on and saying you don't know what you're talking about, or my experience was the complete opposite, and you can get a real sense of what's going on through that site. So thank you for appreciating it. And when you've had your hiccups at various properties, you have been out front, and that's one of the things good operators don't hide. And if something happens, where you have a health inspection that goes a little sideways, you stay in front of it and you explain yourself, and people give you another chance, and they realize stuff. So it's all
Well, and we've talked about this. The good operators enjoy the good and the bad from Let's Eat, because they use, quote unquote, the bad as constructive criticism. And a lot of the times we've talked, Eddie, I know, talked about this with his wife, and different proprietors of restaurants have said, look, not everything they say is unfounded, and they've used it and said, look, we did have issues in that area, and that was very beneficial for us, and that's what's good about the group. And that's sort of what we try to do on the show, is not everything's rosy all the time, but just because it's not perfect doesn't mean it's the end of the world. And a lot of time, my problem with influencers is, because again, my wife will tell us we are that, and that's fine. We're content creators, whatever you want to call us, that's fine. I don't like any of those terms, but that's okay. My problem is when I look at these people with the posts, like whenever we follow them to their places, I've rarely liked any of the stuff that they said, so it's like, okay, because that's the thing. Whenever we send people to places, we believe in the stuff we've had.
You stand in you stand for what you're advertising, but there's a lot of people that would never, because of whether it's dietary restrictions or whatever, they wouldn't come to Eddie and Vinny's if it wasn't for a free meal.
right.
And it's like,
the earthly.
You're gonna have the right guy there. Right?
Yeah. So
I'm offended here by the sense that, I mean, I'm becoming sensitive to what's being posted on this chat line here. George implies that I need to start injecting Ozempic. I mean, what do you think? I feel in pretty good shape. And then Joanne's implying that Skippy needs to go outside. I mean, is there no mercy out there?
I'm just happy Skippy's not here.
Exactly.
No, our
People are very, very
unhinged. And that reminds me, I have a little chiding to do. Don Jaffe, I don't know if he's out there. We don't have the chat line up, but we got to get to a contest winner. You know what? First, we got to get to our second break. Before we do, let me put out a good word. I don't know if I mentioned this. Mayo's been eating more lately. He's right. I plateaued because I have been eating more of the wrong things. So it's not as effective, the Ozempic. It kind of wears off. That's why I got to up the dosage. So I might need to talk to my doctor to up the dosage. But Don Jaffe, you did not win the contest, but it wasn't because of your typo and Conroe somehow became Monroe, but it's okay because your victory margin was not the winning one. Cavs, I think you put by 11, and I think nobody had Cavs by 37.
No one's going to have that.
But we'll get into the contest results and more after these words on the Lunchbox.
Yeah.
Southern comfort food from a scratch kitchen. delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar, a great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. If you want great Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting, have I got the place for you. Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talrico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasta platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi, fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed on Monday. When people ask me about the best restaurants in South Florida, Casa D'Angelo is always at the top of my list. First-class dining, top-flight service, elegant atmosphere, and chef-founder Angelo Ilia is legendary. The flagship in Fort Lauderdale has been serving the finest Italian cuisine since 1997, with other locations in Boca Raton and Aventura. As Angelo himself says, they have an unwavering commitment to unparalleled quality with meticulous attention to details. It's so good, with house-made pastas, pristine seafood, unique meats like elk chops and bison, and seasonal specialties including fragrant fresh truffles from Italy. All locations open 7 days for dinner. Reservations recommended. For a special occasion or any occasion, Casa D'Angelo. Tell them Mike Mayo sent you. Hey, it's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk and Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch, and Taco Tuesdays, including their new birria tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, it's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open-faced smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Okay, a couple of notes before we get back into the meat of the matter here at Prezzo Boca Raton with Eddie Pizzoli of P Hospitality. All these restaurants are opening and stunning success with Eddie and Vinny's. All right, on a somber note, just to have to give some condolences to friends and colleagues and family of a well-known, well-regarded chef in town who unfortunately lost the battle to cancer yesterday. His name was Frederic Delaire. He was born in France, but he worked for a long time at the Lowe's South Beach. And our friend Joe
Joe
Beja
Beja knew him well, yeah.
worked with him, and also did a lot of work because it's like the main host hotel of the South Beach Wine and Food Festival. And he was the one, Fred was the one who would be kind of in charge of organizing. Every year they'd have these tribute dinners, which is a massive undertaking, $500 a plate, 500 people in a massive ballroom where they would be, celebrating lifelong careers of like Jose Andres or in the past Anthony Bourdain. But Fred was the one who would coordinate these tribute dinners and a bunch of other events at the South Beach Wine and Food Festival. Got diagnosed with cancer a few years back, and as a result left Lowe's and took a position as, I think, executive chef at John Knox Village up here in Pompano for the last 2 years. So everybody, of course, is very, very saddened to hear the news that he passed yesterday. So again, condolences to everybody who knew him. And then in some just industry news, did I mention it last week on the air? But I guess now it can be told. I mean, our friends at Batch, we love, Kevin and Brandon. It was like the couple. Kevin is the founder and Brandon was the director of operations. We couldn't even say his name for a while because of a non-compete clause. He came from another one. He's going to be leaving this week. It's very sad to hear.
Oh, Brandon?
Brandon is
really
Friday is his last day.
Oh, you didn't say anything.
I kept it under my hat. I'm going to put it out there now because Brandon made a lot of friends. He's been basically based at the Fort Lauderdale Batch location. But he is, again, one of those just practitioners of over-the-top hospitality, made everybody feel really welcome. He's getting out of the business. He is, he had recent surgery, and I guess it was one of those wake-up calls. He's doing fine after the surgery, and, he's gotten back into tip-top shape, former Marine. I didn't realize he flies. He flies a little private jet.
Really?
I mean, Cessnas. He was like a recreational pilot. He's pursuing his dream to become a commercial pilot.
Okay.
He's going up to Jacksonville.
Hospitality.
Yeah. Yeah. And he, I wish him all the luck.
Yeah,
in the
my
world.
God. Good luck, Brandon.
I did want to let people know because he did make a big impression on a lot of people.
We love him. He's great.
Including us.
Did you see that one article? I forget when it was, when there was a commercial pilot. There was a plane grounded for like hours and hours on end. And a commercial pilot went and bought on his own credit card pizzas for
wow.
Really? No,
for like
everybody
in the cabin because they were stuck on the ground and they wouldn't let them get off the plane, and the hospitality's within being a pilot. So
yeah, now I don't know if he's going to end up working for a major airline or be more along the lines of the FedEx or charters or the shipping industry. There's a whole world out there in terms of opportunity for commercial pilots. But I just want to wish him the best of luck. He's been nothing but great to us here on the Lunchbox and to anybody really who's gone into Batch.
Fantastic.
And again, his last day will be this Friday. So go on in and say goodbye if you'd like. And I know I will miss him, but Kevin has a great staff in place, all kinds of other managers. Jennifer, we just dealt with up there in Del Rey, and he's got Tim and the whole other crew, Sean down in Fort Lauderdale. So good luck to Brandon. And then I don't know if I also mentioned last week, Paula De Silva left the Burlock Coast and Ritz-Carlton down on Fort Lauderdale Beach. She's been with Marriott/Ritz for 25 years.
Wow.
And she has taken a new position. Congratulations, Paula De Silva, Mazel Tov, Director of Food and Beverage at the PGA National Resort.
Wow.
Resort. And I know her last day at the Ritz down on Fort Lauderdale Beach, I believe, was a week or so ago, and she's starting the new position any day now.
That's amazing.
Great opportunity for her. PGA National, fantastic, big resort.
Yep.
A couple of really good restaurants there.
The Butcher's Club up there, Honey Bell.
Jeremy Ford and Lindsay Autry. Now, she's not Paula's not going to be directly, she's overseeing the whole food and beverage operations for the entire resort. They do a lot of weddings. They have PGA Tour events there. It's a great thing. So best of luck to Paula.
It's amazing.
And that's it. All right. So what else do we have on the agenda today? Is there anything else to discuss?
A little shout out I want to give to the Yard House in Boca Raton. I was up there on Saturday, my grandson's 10th birthday, Liam. Unfortunately, Let's Go Liam, the horse that ran in the 5th race at Woodbine, was dead last. I recommended everybody bet him. But,
nothing like
I know how you feel about big parties and this sort of thing, Mike Mayo. You're not a big fan. I usually figure, Eddie, you can relate to this. It's tough. Tables of 12 or more, can be a real fiasco.
we don't take
He's got stressed out.
People, you started to schwitz. I mean, just even at the mention of it, but the number. But they did a very nice job, especially considering people were showing up at different times. So that's always good when that goes well.
Large parties, is like the showing up at different times. So I'll say it from the restaurant side, and people never understand why you don't like to sit a full party. However,
a less than full party.
Yeah,
you want everybody to be on the
there.
premises before you get seated.
People like me usually complain about that. Yes, I'm not going
because
to
the clock is ticking. You want to turn the table.
Not even about turning the table. It's about providing efficient
the best experience,
service.
right?
Yeah.
Because the server, say 2 out of the 12 sit down.
Right.
What are the options? The server greets them, gets
some
them a
drinks,
drink, or the server ignores them until the rest of the party gets here. At which point they're going to freak out anyways.
Right.
So now the server.
No way to win.
Yeah, the server greets them, gets drinks, and then now
and then staggered tickets, and then separate checks, and it's just like a night. You know what? When I was a sports writer, my worst nightmare was like having to change planes at Atlanta Hartsfield Airport.
Oh, Atlanta's
they've gotten much better.
Where you have to do the Delta Dash, where you land at gate A1 and you have to go to D32.
Yeah, and you have to take the shuttle thing, and then
my restaurant nightmare is you go in and you've been invited, and it's like basically going to a restaurant. And not to take a shot at Boca, but like if you have to go to Boca with a group of 20 people, let's say all my older relatives, like we used to get together.
That's a really big number.
No, but yeah, for me, my cutoff line, I prefer parties of 4 or fewer, 6 max, 3 couples max is my preferred. Do you do the same when you go out? Do you try to limit?
I think like our friend group kind of limits that. We're like, whenever we do stuff, it's usually 8 of us, and 8's controllable at a restaurant. You can do either a big round table or even a rectangle table where we kind of break it up, guys and girls. And like, that's, I think at a nicer restaurant, that's kind of the
max,
the most it should be,
right?
Without going to like a fixed menu.
Right.
But fixed menus are great options as well, because that keeps your service efficient. You know what you're going to be spending at the door. And it just, it kind of keeps the night going where, you don't have 15 different people looking at a menu deciding what they want. It's just everything comes out.
Right.
Everybody
3 courses,
gets to enjoy
bang,
their time.
bang, bang. Okay. But a lot of people, they don't like losing that control. And they feel like they should be able to have the entire menu available to them like everybody else.
At the end of the day, on a Saturday night when you're doing 300 people, that 15 top will derail the entire restaurant.
Are you asking people to be considerate of others and the fact that there are other people?
That doesn't exist in Palm Beach County. It doesn't exist.
Oh, and by the way, Mike Mayo, rave reviews for the thing that you were touting at Casa D'Angelo.
Oh, good.
Friends of mine went to our good friends Tony and Victoria Martosha. Were at the Dan Marino thing with the wine tasting. Tony's he's a red wine drinker. A hardcore Italian. Not going to be drinking a Chardonnay with his pinky up. The old Jim Manage thing, but they said that the wines were outstanding, and it was an excellent all-around experience. And Marino and Damon Hewitt couldn't have been any more delightful, according to.
Nice.
This was at Casa D'Angelo, one of our great premier sponsors, and I saw Angelo Ilia right before I went in for dinner on that previous weekend. I actually ordered a bottle of the Passing Time wine from Washington State.
I saw that on your social media. Did you post that?
I think I might have.
He did.
Yeah, I did. And
he wanted it known.
I paid full freight.
He was trying to get a freebie there, and he was trying to.
No. I paid full freight.
Did you say you wanted it for free? So you
no. And look, Angelo was very gracious because he did. When I go in there unrequested, I'm always willing to pay for the whole thing. He threw some extra courses in, but I bought that bottle of wine because I wanted to try it. I couldn't make it to the wine dinner. And he does such an excellent job, Casa D'Angelo. I still don't know how the Michelin Guide snubbed the original Casa d'Angelo in
Surprising.
Yeah, they should get at least a recommended, and they do great stuff there. So I'm glad that your friends enjoyed it. Oh, and there is one
No,
more.
no, he said it was really, really well run, and that the wines were outstanding.
Yes,
And they're big winos. I know this from knowing them for many, many years.
Washington State is an up and
No, the
coming region
Northwest
where you get
Oregon and Washington State
better value and good. I mean, not just good, like great quality wine, like 1970s era Napa, Sonoma, when those areas were first growing up. Washington State is blowing up because of global climate change. The region now is much better for growing the kinds of grapes that used to be the purview of just Napa. These big Cabernets that have beautiful body and just very, very elegant finishes and just very well structured wine. So I'm glad your friends enjoyed it. And if you get a chance, anybody out there, and you see a bottle of Passing Time wine out in your local liquor store or wine shop, go check it out. All right, I am forgetting something. My sister-in-law said. What? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
A first-class event at Casa d'Angelo.
Well, he's all about first class. We love Angelo Ilya, just like Eddie Pozzoli is first class.
Eddie, man, Eddie looks sharp, by the way. Eddie, you're looking good, kid.
Good.
I lost a little weight with the opening.
Oh, he does. Okay. Yeah.
He's forgetting to eat.
He's not. You're not cheating like
You're
me.
not juicing. You're not juicing with Mayo, are you?
All right, we got one more item on the agenda, and my sister-in-law just texted me. Contest winner, of course.
Well, I wasn't sure if you're doing it today or not.
I am.
You might bring it out tomorrow.
No, we got it. We got a couple of minutes left today before the last break, and yeah, I can't tease the people. It was again the question was. It wasn't really a trivia question so much as a news quiz, which was which are the only two restaurants in Broward and Palm Beach counties, one in each county, to get awarded a Michelin star. And the answer was Conroe in West Palm Beach. Have you ever been there? No. Do you know what it costs for like
$375 a head? I looked at the menu.
No, it's $420.
Is that what it is?
When I went on to the open table, it was $420 just for the basic. If you wanted to add the wine pairing, and they don't sell wines by the glass or bottle, wine pairing is $295, and then to add on their signature A5 Wagyu drunken Wagyu dish, which is what supposedly made the chef famous in Chicago, is another $125. You add it all up,
almost a grand per person.
$1,100 per person.
Wow. Oh my God, man!
Wow, that's above my pay grade.
At that point, you tell them you're an influencer when you come in.
Exactly.
You might be able to really put them out there. Unless
there you go.
Yes,
I might try that one there. Yeah. The one in Broward, of course, the chef's counter at Moss, not the whole restaurant, just the chef's counter at Moss. That's at the Four Seasons. All right, that was the restaurants. The winner of the feature race, the 9th race, was number 9, and that is Ozara. And then we had Cavs Heat tiebreaker. Nobody had the Cavs by 37. Nobody had the Cavs by 20. And nobody even had the Cavs by 15. Oh, yeah, a lot of people had the first two parts. The winner, no tiebreaker necessary, he picked the Cavs by 12 points, and that was the most lopsided margin of those who picked the right horse and had the right restaurants. Michael Yared, congratulations. Nice. You are this week's winner of the Gulfstream 10 Palms Sunday Brunch Contest. You and a guest have won a fabulous all-expense-paid Sunday brunch for two, including a mimosa, tax, and tip. And again, thank Joe Beja and the crew at Gulfstream and 10 Palms. They do a great job there. And they also, if you're looking for a place to spend Derby Day, 10 Palms still has availability. Nice. It's going to be a good place for the action. Live racing at Gulfstream. Simulcast all the races from Churchill Downs, including the Derby, up till 7 p.m. They have the enhanced buffet. That's at Gulfstream's 10 Palms. Go online to Open Table to get your reservations.
I know we're going to take a break soon, but I want to, in regard to Michelin, and I definitely know Eddie and Vinny's is one of those places that's geared toward that caliber of food, which is what the Michelin seems to be looking at, especially when it comes to stars, even big gourmands. You guys haven't been open long enough for any of those things. What do you think of those things? As a restaurateur, I'm sure you wouldn't be against it, obviously, but how much thought goes into, I know Chef Jeff's been around a long time. You guys talk about things like that? Are those things even discussed?
Actually, we did talk about it with the big push of Broward restaurants, even getting the acknowledgement from the guide. I think it's important to know that, that would be something that can turn the scales for especially West Broward. You get a recognized restaurant out that way, people will go. I mean, that's what the Michelin Guide was for initially, right?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
you're driving through places you don't normally drive, and you go on, and this is, we need to go to this restaurant. This one has a star. So,
Yep.
I think the restaurants that aren't necessarily on Main and Main, it would be almost more beneficial to get the acknowledgement, and we're pushing for, I know a star is a long shot, but we would love the acknowledgement, and we're pushing for
The
that.
Rex or
and the
Bib
team,
Gourmand.
yeah, the team is well aware of what our goals are and our intentions are there.
Even to just be listed in the guide
That's
as a
what I'm thinking.
recommended restaurant
That's
is
huge.
something that's a big feather in the cap. A lot of people pay attention. There are these foodies who are food travelers that will go out of their way to check out any place that's mentioned.
And it's hard with an Italian restaurant because there's not a ton of Michelin recognized Italian
and
restaurants.
I really think this is a thing because Michelin is a French company and they lean towards French food. And a lot of Italian places like Casa d'Angelo or Fiola down south in Miami, places that do excellent job, just top flight food and service, and all these things get overlooked a lot. Now, speaking of a place that did not get overlooked, which Heritage, our friend Reno, I popped in there on Friday night. I had to congratulate him in person, and he had the little, I guess, when the Bib Gourmands, instead of having a plaque that has the actual star that you can hang up, they give the little like replica. It's like a doll of the Michelin Man, and it has a little like sash around it that says Michelin Guy. And he had it hung up on the shelf on the bar. I was going to post that on the Let's Eat group a little bit later. But again, congrats to Reno. He's having a food event tonight. He's calling it the Motley Crew Dinner. Motley Food. Thank you. Oh, he's paying more attention than me. Motley Food.
I gotta be in the community.
And Reno is dying because it's conflicting with the Panthers game, which he would have gone to had it not, because usually the restaurant is closed on
Monday. Yeah.
But now he's having this special event, the Motley Food Dinner, with a bunch of other chefs, and he told me the concept is making like hangover food that chefs would eat the day after a really bad hangover. So it's kind of like a comfort food, but with an elegant spin on it.
Yes, throwing together when he came over to Eddie Minis, we were talking a lot about it, and it's just like throwing together food that you would never expect to be good, and making it fun, taking away the rules of cooking.
He told me one of the courses is going to be like a chicken nugget, but a very elevated chicken nugget using like Bell and Evans organic chicken, and with a really nice coating, and putting a dollop of like caviar and sour cream on top. So like an elevated, that's the kind of stuff that's going to be going on there tonight. Hey, before we take that third and final break, I would be remiss if I didn't remind everybody there's just like 4 days left in stone crab season.
That's true.
May 1st, which is Thursday, is the last day to pull up the traps. And that means if you want to get your last taste of stone crab season this week, go to Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market in Hollywood. They're also one of our great sponsors. They've been around for over 60 years and now, of course, run by the great Jose and Gene. And if you want to get in there, the freshest seafood, fish, and don't forget stone crabs. May 1st is the end of season. Get them now while you can. It's at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, right across from the old classic Seminole Bingo Hall Parlor, now known as Seminole Classic Casino. Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood is open 7 days a week. Go online to delawarechicken.com to sign up for their weekly newsletter with all their specials and other news. All right, let's take that third and final break. Eddie, it's always a pleasure. We can let you roam free if you wish. And we're going to get out of here after these words on the Lunchbox. For the finest poultry and the freshest fish, Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, open 7 days. Since 1951, a South Florida tradition for stone crab in season, Thanksgiving turkeys, holiday feasts, and everyday eating. Great steaks, house-made sausage, and prepared foods, too. Delaware is not just a market, it's a celebration of taste, quality, and old-fashioned customer service with a smile. Sign up for their weekly email flyer at DelawareChicken.com and tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a great bagel with lox, matzo ball soup, deli sandwich, and rugelach, you know where I go? Grandpa's Restaurant in Dania Beach. It's a South Florida institution since 1957 that was revamped a few years back by a pair of New York bagel baking legends. Full deli and appetizing case with spreads, salads, and platters for takeout and catering. Grandpa's is near Federal Highway just north of Sterling Road, open 7 days for breakfast and lunch. Go eat and enjoy. It's Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. For the finest and authentic Greek cuisine, Taverna Kima is the place to go. 6298 North Federal Highway in Boca Raton. It's been around for nearly 2 decades. Every day is a feast with grilled lamb and fish, house-made spinach pie and moussaka, gyros, traditional dips, mezes, with soft, warm pita. It's open 7 days for lunch and dinner with happy hour daily from 3 to 6 p.m. Indoor, outdoor, private dining. So celebrate life at Taverna Kima. For reservations and information, go to tavernakima.com. When I get a craving for real Southern barbecue, Fat Boys Barbecue is the place that I call home. Cooked low and slow with proper smoke and dry rub goodness, Fat Boys has some of the best ribs, brisket, burnt ends, pulled pork, and chicken around. 5 delectable sauces and the tastiest collard greens, candied yams, and cornbread this side of heaven. 4 locations, including Deerfield, Coral Springs, Cypress Creek Road, and their newest location in downtown Fort Lauderdale, 706 South Federal Highway. Open 7 days with great lunch specials, online ordering, delivery, catering, and food trucks for your next event. To order, go to fatboysbarbecue.com today. That's Fat Boys with a fresh local fish, a sophisticated setting. I'm talking about Corvina Seafood Grill. It's at 110 Plaza Real South in Boca Raton, just south of Palmetto Park Road. It's the place to go for the freshest and local seafood and fish, some of it with a Peruvian twist like their great ceviches. It's open 7 days for dinner. They also have happy hours 7 days a week. You don't want to miss it. It's a great place. CorvinaBocaRaton.com for more information and reservations.
What did you have?
Fresh local fish, a sophisticated setting. I'm talking about Corvina Seafood Grill. It's at 110 Plaza Real South in Boca Raton, just south of Palmetto Park Road. It's the place to go for the freshest and local seafood and fish, some of it with a Peruvian twist like their great ceviches. It's open 7 days for dinner. They also have happy hours 7 days a week. You don't want to miss it. It's a great place. CorvinaBocaRaton.com for more information and reservations. All right, that's going to do it for today. Thanks again to Eddie Pizzoli and the crew here at Prezzo Boca Raton. It is here for, I guess, 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. It is a great spot for comforting Italian food, great values with the lunch specials and also other specials throughout the week. Happy hour, wine Wednesdays.
Yeah, Wine Wednesday's great.
Etc. Defo, I'm glad that
I got rid of Defo.
Oh, okay. I'm glad the birthday
rapper.
party went well. I checked out a new restaurant over the weekend. Saturday night, it was like one of these preview dinners. Wasn't a freebie. But it was discounted. It was weird how they did it. But this new Ocean Prime restaurant, which is like another high-end steak and seafood. It's this Cameron Mitchell restaurant group out of Columbus, Ohio, of all places. They have 70 restaurants with like 12 or 15 different concepts. Ocean Prime is their premier steak seafood place.
Okay.
They have this standalone building on basically the Intracoastal, just north of Las Olas Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Just above the city built this garage, and it's right on the other side of the garage. 2-story building, and I didn't realize they have a lot of outdoor seating, but the upper deck, the second floor, is where you want to be. They call it the veranda. Outside on the second floor, you get a beautiful view of the sunset. And saw some friends there. Went to dinner with another friend. We were sitting on the first floor. It's a new venture, so you got to give them time to work out any kind of kinks. But I tell you what, the food was pretty good.
Okay.
They did a steak, and it's prime beef they're using, and it was a strip sirloin, like a 14-ounce New York strip sirloin steak that was it was still like $63, which I know it's crazy to say that, $60 for a steak is cheap.
So that's cheap?
It's for prime meat.
For
Usually you
prime.
don't even see prime meat for less than $75 to $85 now. So the fact that this is a big restaurant group, they have some buying power. Because even some of the major chains now, like Morton's, and I think even Capital Grill, they've stopped using prime. They're using Angus beef, and they're
Oh,
still
really?
charging prime. They're still charging the $65-$75. I think Capital Grill still uses prime for their ribeye, but that's the only steak that they still use. That's USDA prime, which is, of course, is like a little bit fattier, more well marbled, more flavor. Only 1% of all beef is graded prime. Yada yada yada.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I would say, and it was an expertly prepared. I ordered medium rare, and it came out medium rare. It was au poivre with a peppercorn crust. It was very good. It was a good
Okay.
steak. So I'm gonna say Ocean Prime is going to be kind of a hot spot. Even though it gets hot in the summertime, sitting outside that second deck, they have an indoor bar. I'm sure they're going to close it off during the summertime.
This is like Las Olas. Or it's a little north of Las Olas.
But it's on the beach side. It's on the intracoastal side, so it's poised west. So it's kind of, all those schlocky places, like where the elbow room is, along A1A.
Like Las Olas in the beach.
But you go the other way on the intracoastal side.
Yeah.
So it actually is kind of offset, kind of like Alton Road is to South Beach and Ocean Drive. Alton Road. This is kind of like the Alton Road of Fort Lauderdale, of the intracoastal. They should do well, but there's just a whole bunch of steakhouses opening now between Catch and Cut, which is Kim Bokamper's place on Las Olas that opened a few months ago. Daniel's restaurant around the corner from me, which is very good.
I can recommend it,
but it's also pricey. And but that opened 6 months ago. And now there's another steakhouse that's going to be opening. Sunness Steakhouse in Fort Lauderdale, which is up across from the Galleria, opened in recent months. That's a steakhouse. And then a place that used to be Holly Blue in this old church in this other area near Flagler Village on 3rd Avenue is going to be a new steakhouse. I don't know who's behind it. I think it's called like Jay's Steakhouse or something like that. That's getting ready to open. So I don't know. I guess steak is the new thing.
Look, when you're opening a restaurant, I guess but like Eddie keeps an eye on what's going on, right? Like, aren't these other places aware? Like, I understand every place is its own thing and they can do their own thing and this and that, but and I know steakhouses work in South Florida. It's Italian and steakhouses. I get it, but like, how many do you need in an area? That's crazy to me. That seems like an inundation of steakhouses. Yeah, especially now. This isn't the 1970s, right? It's like we've opened up our flavors and our tastes in South Florida to different things.
But Fort Lauderdale has long had a reputation of being very vanilla. And
I
straight
know.
down
I've
the
talked
middle.
with Timon about this a lot.
And it was funny because when at the tail end of my Sun Sentinel dining critic days, it seemed like there was a whole wave of restaurants opening on Las Olas, and they were all Italian. There was like 15 Italian restaurants within a 3-block radius.
Yeah.
Now there's been a shakeout where like half of them are gone. And same thing might happen with this whole steakhouse thing. I mean, I know our friend Mark Falsetto was talking about that he found a property on Las Olas and is developing a steakhouse. That's 2 years away. This Jay's Steakhouse, it says opening in May, and it's in the former site of the church part of where Holly Blue and the Angelus or the Angels was like a nightclub. And it looks like this Jay's Steakhouse. It says entertainment, drinks, steakhouse. It's going to be a modern steakhouse and late night destination on 3rd Avenue there as you go up towards Flagler Village. So another one. It's I'm
not casting aspersions. Look, I know there's a lot of fish in the sea and a lot of places can't exist. It's just, it's interesting to me when a bunch in the same exact avenue open up at the same time.
Even in South Beach or Miami-Dade, Sonny's is like a new modern steakhouse that has become the big hit. It opened less than a year ago, and it's impossible to get a reservation in there. And Prime 112 has been a long time, over a decade, like the hot spot. And I saw that a new, also reminiscent of Prime 112, a new steakhouse just opened on South Beach. I forget what the name of it is, but I saw a review of it, and it actually looks like they're doing a pretty good job. But I guess steak and money will never go out of style.
Yeah, people like a good steak. It's just, and again, we know a lot of places that look, Runway isn't a steak house, but they do a great steak program. And I get it. That's, people love their steak. It's America, South Florida. No, we have a lot of former New Yorkers, Peter Luger's and all that, and steakhouses are a big deal. New York, it's a big deal down here. So I'm not against it. I'm just curious, like when a bunch open up in one area in like a month or 2 month span, how can they all survive?
I don't know. And that's the question. I'll tell you one place that will survive because it's been around over 75 years.
Bingo.
And when you're talking about steak and you're talking about value, do they use Prime? No. they are using the certified Angus beef, which a lot of places are switching to now because of cost. But unlike these other
And they
places,
charge what they
that
should charge.
charging $60 or $70 for an Angus steak at Tropical Acres, they're still charging, $35 or $40 for Angus meat, and it comes out great. And I'm going to be going there with my daughter tomorrow night. We were supposed to go last week, but she came down with a cold. But I'm going to be going in there because it is the Twin Lobster Special is back early this year.
Which is insane. Like
Yeah.
when you were talking to Alex from Wands about like what lobster is going and this and that, and you were giving just like what you thought was a ludicrous price for one wholesaler. He's like, no, it's way more than that.
Right.
It's magic what there's Jack and his team is doing at Tropical Acres.
His sons, the Studiali family, long-standing relationship with a lobster, purveyor up in New England, and they're able to get these lobsters in, again, 1 to 1 1/4 pound lobsters, 2 of them for $39 with a salad and a side dish. That's why you could have your fancy schmancy places.
What do you mean to cook it at home would be more money?
With what
it would be more money
it
right
costs at any seafood market. Now, you can go in and have them do the cooking and the cleanup and split a Twin Lobster Special with, I'm going to have, with my daughter. We'll either get a piece of prime rib or a filet mignon, have a nice little surf and turf for two. For less than $100 is crazy. And on Monday and Tuesday, half price wine night,
you could get a bottle of wine and still be not that much more than $100.
It's crazy, the great value there, and they just do a great job. That's why I love Tropical Acres. If you want to call me a shill, that's fine. I've been going there for 30
you go.
years.
You pay. I've been there. You pay.
I get my little punch card stamped. I've got one full punch card. I feel ashamed about using those there.
No, you've gotten it from.
I know. I'm
being
from hard work
consistently eating there.
Going there. I'm a big
you
fan.
should use it.
And I'm not ashamed. Okay. Some nights, if you want to get the new fancy new toy,
fine.
And get a new view,
sure.
you go to Ocean Prime, you go to Daniels. But my tried and true, Tropical Acres. So that's it. And we might even have our Let's Eat South Florida 200,000 member party there.
Yeah.
Maybe limit it to the first 200. Raise a little money for charity.
That'd be great.
Of charity, I'm going to a charity event right now in conjunction with Fleet Week.
Nice.
Great people at Ark Broward. Again, such a great program. It's not open to the public, unfortunately, but it's an event where it's kind of like chopped competition. Teams of some of these from the galleys of some of these ships that are in town, the Navy chefs are paired up with some of the people from Ark Broward, which is a great program that works with developmentally disabled teens and young adults, training them with culinary skills.
Nice.
So they actually get jobs.
That's great.
In the hospitality industry, at restaurants and at catering places and at hotels. Such a great program, and I'm looking forward to getting down there later today for their chopped competition in conjunction with Fleet Week. It's going to be fun.
Nice.
Tomorrow, we're going to do some encores. We both have some business to attend to. And then Wednesday, we'll be back at Wild Time, which is at the Atlantic Hotel Spa Resort on Fort Lauderdale Beach with our friend Steve DePuzzo, Society 8 Hospitality. And Wild Time has got some things going on. He also has some other things in development. Steve, he's always trying to come up with new experiences, and he will tell us about the latest when we get together with him on Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to be doing a very fun one-off show at the Frank Pepe's Pizza in Delray Beach.
Cool. Nice.
And we're there at 1 o'clock. Later in the day, our friend Paul Castanova is hosting a happy hour that's in celebration of the opening of what's called the Char Bar, full liquor bar. It's the first time any Frank Pepe's Pizza location will be having a cocktail lounge, full liquor, the Char Bar. Paul's going to be there with his crew from 5 to 7. We're going to be there from 1 to 2. And we're talking with one of the executives, I think a senior vice president of Pepe's Pizza on Thursday in Delray Beach about the 100th anniversary of Frank Pepe's Pizza.
That's
started
amazing.
in New Haven, Worcester Street. And again, I think the actual 100th anniversary is coming up either in June or September. We'll get up more details. So why not go celebrate with a nice New Haven pie? All right, that's it. We're going to get out of here. Went a little overtime. We'll see everybody again in the next few days. Until then, enjoy every pasta, enjoy every salad, and enjoy every sandwich.